Hi guys, it's Kyarako here, back with another speed build, and today we're building a custom content-free experimental restaurant. And I know that's a mouthful of a sentence, but that's pretty much what this is. Please let me know if you guys have any name ideas for this restaurant, because right now I'm just calling it an experimental restaurant, but that's not really that cool of a name. So please let me know if you guys have any creative names, because I know you do. So let me know down below. And like I said, this is custom content-free. There's no custom content in this build, which I know is like crazy for me because I always build with custom content. I love custom content. You guys know this. I will praise creators to the end of my days. I love custom content, okay? But for this particular build, I wanted to challenge myself this week actually to build without custom content. So today's video and Wednesday and Friday's video are all going to be custom content free. So if you are someone who doesn't use custom content in your game, you are in luck. These will be available on the gallery, so you can check that out by searching up my EA ID, which is bykiarako. The details of that will be in the description down below. Anyways, so the reason I wanted to do this, because like I said, I do really love custom content, but I wanted to challenge myself, because I do feel like a big part of being a creative person and being able to, express and achieve your creativity is through challenging yourself, and through having limitations. It's very hard for me to be creative when I don't have like a guideline or a limitation. If it's just free for all, I can't think of anything at all to do, like for example, I had an assignment in one of my interior design classes, which was about putting together basically like a piece of installation art for, just a random location. But the assignment didn't really have any guidelines at all. It was just kind of, make an installation piece. Very vague, very, no strings attached, very just totally no guidelines whatsoever. And some people, I think, probably really like that, just total freedom, total reign over anything they could do. But for me, like, I literally just sat for hours and hours and hours, and I couldn't think of anything to do because there was no guideline, there was no limitation, there was no, like, direction for me to point my brain. You know what I mean? So I always have found that having limitations and putting challenges on yourself when you're trying to be creative actually lends itself to like encouraging your creativity, because you have to think of different ways to solve the problems, and that's where creativity comes from, is just, problem solving pretty much. So let me know what you guys think of, my custom content free build. Like I said, I don't usually build without custom content, so this is the first time I was doing this in a very, very long time. But I actually quite enjoyed it. I feel like I got a really cool build out of it. I mean, like, look at these like curved roofs. I feel like it looks pretty neat. And I used a lot of like options from the debug menu and the live edit menu. So I was really trying to make this as robust of a build as I could without including custom content at all. And I think I was successful. Like I said, this is an experimental restaurant, so the design, as you can see, is pretty experimental in itself. I wanted it to look really, really weird. Just, something that didn't look like your average, custom content free build. I wanted it to look very odd, futuristic, almost like a spaceship. You can see it has like these weird wings on the side. So it was a very unique design that I put together for this build, but like I said, I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. It does really look like a spaceship now that I'm looking at it back, But anyway, so basically the layout of this restaurant is you come inside and there's all the seating stuff, but on the second floor you can see we have actually a little office space. So the person who like runs this restaurant, or like the head chef or something, they have their own little office space up there. And it was important to me that like the kitchen in this space and the office were like large and connected, because it's an experimental restaurant. I had the idea that the head chef like is always here like at late at night after the restaurant's closed, and they're just like trying to come up with all these crazy weird recipes, and they have something new on the menu every single day. I feel like that would probably be a very difficult way to run a restaurant just in terms of like business, but I do feel like the experience of this place would be really, really interesting. It is in the world that came with Snowy Escape, so I did imagine in my head that this may be somewhere in Japan, so maybe it's like Japanese-inspired experimental food, like maybe it's like fusion or something, I don't know, like, or very unique like sushi or something like that. I don't know, just really, really cool stuff. I would love to eat here, but at the same time, I'm also kind of a picky eater, which is something I'm trying to get over, because it prevents me from trying out a lot of delicious food in my life, and it's quite difficult to be a picky eater. So it's something I'm trying to overcome right now, by, trying a lot of new food and just like trying to expand my horizons. So I would love to eat here, but I also know I'd probably like be very hesitant about some of the wild, crazy food they would give me. But I'll try to someday, really eat the crazy stuff I could. Of course, crazy is subjective, you know, I just mean to me personally, stuff I don't usually eat. I don't know what they would serve here. I'm trying to think of like dishes that I could come up with to tell you guys about, but I honestly have no idea. I don't know, probably like some very rare food, you know, like stuff that's like from, you know, wildlife that you can't even access, and it's like totally like super rare. But you know, when I say that, then I feel like it's not that sustainable. I would like this restaurant to be a sustainable restaurant that's not like, you know, cutting down, you know, forests and, you know, killing rare species or anything like that. So let's say it's a sustainable experimental restaurant, okay? Or maybe it's like a vegan restaurant or something like that, and they just like, I don't know, feed you like wild mushrooms or something. I don't know, that'd be an interesting experience. As you can see with like the design, we also kind of have this balance of like this sense of serenity and calmness, because we have these like surrounding what are they called? I'm not remembering the name. These like stone things on the side, and then we have the whole restaurant surrounded by this water pond, water trench, I don't know. It's very, very beautiful. Probably a hazard. I mean, probably a lot of people have fallen into that pool. But I thought it was just so lovely, especially since we have these outdoor decks on either side of the restaurant. I felt like the outdoor eating experience would be like greatly elevated by having this like surrounding pool of lily pads and water. But yeah, anyway, so back here we have our kitchen area. So that's the back room back here, and we have windows connected to it so that while you're in the restaurant, you can see what the chefs are doing in the kitchen. And I've always loved restaurants that did that, because I feel like it adds such another experience to the whole like restaurant dining experience, you know what I mean? Because it's one thing to just like eat amazing food, but it's another thing to like actually be able to watch you know, these masters at their craft like make and cook the food for you, you know? So I've always loved restaurants that do that allow you to see the food as it's made, and I thought that that'd be really important in an experimental restaurant like this, because I feel like they'd be using such cool techniques, you know, to like make their really wild, weird food. So I would like love to pull up a seat right by that window, just watch the chefs go to town. I feel like that'd be really fun. Speaking of chefs and cooking, I recently watched the film Boiling Point, which I want to say it's on Amazon Prime. I'm not quite sure, but check it out, you guys. It was a very interesting movie. It's about it takes place in real time, which means as things happen, it happens in real time. That's a horrible explanation. Basically, 5 minutes in the film is 5 minutes in real life. That's what it means to have a film in real time. And it's all one shot, or it's like supposed to all look like one shot, so there's no cuts or edits. The acting was amazing. It was a stressful movie, to say the least, about, you know, the amount of pressure and stress that chefs and you know, waiters and people who work in restaurants are under on a daily basis. And it was a fascinating film. I feel like I learned a lot about the restaurant industry, at least as much as I could from that movie. So I recommend that movie. It is dramatic, so if you're not into like super drama movies, then I wouldn't suggest it, but it was a fun one, and this restaurant just reminded me of that, because it too took place in like a very fancy, like really cool restaurant where the chefs were like doing really, really interesting stuff. It's called Boiling Point. Again, just check it out. Let me know what you guys think. And of course, if you guys have any movie recommendations for me, please let me know. I am like a huge movie buff. I watch movies all the time, a couple a week, and I just, you know, I'm always looking for new recommendations. So let me know if you have any ideas at all. Anyway, so as you can see, we're wrapping up the interior of this restaurant. We have these really lovely tables. There's, you know, this restaurant is actually relatively small now that I look at it. There's not a lot of, you know, sitting space, but it is probably like a very bougie, expensive restaurant, so I don't imagine they'd be having like huge crowds here, and especially since the food is so like odd and experimental, they probably would like draw a pretty niche, small set of people, you know what I mean? So I feel like the small tables are justified. I mean that, and also I just like didn't plan enough space for a lot of people, but you know, it's justified, I think. Anyway, so you have these outdoor deck tables, like I said. It'd be so lovely to eat out here by like this water, and then on the right side we actually have a bar area and a couple other seats. So they're not symmetrical on either side, so you can have a different experience on either side of the restaurant. And we're almost actually done with this build. It's actually quite a small, fast build, but I had a lot of fun doing it, just because it's so weird. I experimented with a lot of new shapes here, especially with the roof. Anyways, we're gonna finish up the kitchen and then the office upstairs, and then we're about done with this build. I wasn't like totally happy with how this kitchen turned out, to be honest. Like, I mentioned this in a couple of my builds, but kitchens are really hit or miss for me. Either I love the kitchens I do, or I absolutely do not like them. This one was okay. It's not my favorite kitchen I've done, but I do think it works for this particular build. This is the office upstairs, so this is where either the owner of the restaurant or the head chef would come and do, office business work. Just, cute little office. There's not much going on up here. It's just very calm, relaxing. We have this outdoor balcony area so they can go out and, mull over the stresses of, restaurant life. And they have a little, little music player. I always forget words when I do these videos, you guys. So this person probably, blasts hardcore heavy metal while they're like thinking of new recipes. I love that idea. And then they have all these cool little picture frames on the wall, which I imagine maybe are pictures of like old restaurants that they used to work at, or just famous chefs or food or something like that. Anyways, that is about it for this build. Please let me know what you guys think. This will be available on the gallery for download. Just look up for my EAD by Kyarako, but you can see all that information down in the description below. It is a custom content free build. There's no CC at all, so you can go and download this right now. Obviously I use a lot of packs, so you're gonna have to check, which packs you have if you want this in your game. But if you do get this in your game, please let me know. Like, show me in the Discord, which will also be linked down below. I'd love to see, you guys actually, play with this stuff in your game. I feel like that'd be so fun to see your Sims running this restaurant. And of course, feel free to change anything around. You can redo the kitchen, I understand. It's not my favorite kitchen in the world, but I feel like it's a pretty cool, interesting build, and I'm very happy with it. And of course, let me know if you guys have any name ideas. Let me know if you have any build requests, challenges, anything at all. This week, my challenge is to build without custom content, and I am enjoying it so far, surprisingly. So tune in back on Wednesday for another custom content free build. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.